Ever since Bronny James fully recovered from that freakish knee injury he had back in February, there's been a lot of talk about him. Well, you can't be the firstborn to the king and heir to the throne and not get talked about. He's even replicated the feats of his famous father by appearing on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a teenager. But Bronny did it at an even younger age than his father managed. So, is Bronny really that good, or is it just hype? Before we get into that, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K22 and Madden NFL 22 included, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter our giveaway. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and Bronny is already proving that, walking in the strides of his famous father while trying to make his own name for himself and step out of the shadow of his father. LeBron James himself has admitted that Bronny is as much of a basketball junkie as he was when he was his age. That helped him when he was still making a name for himself back in the early 2000s, and it appears to be doing the same for Bronny. Bronny is already on his way to becoming a professional basketball player and has been scouted several times. Bronny is currently a rising junior at Sierra Canyon High School, where he plays as a point guard for the basketball team. During his freshman year, Bronny was dropping an average of 15 points per game. Unfortunately, he had a freakish knee injury back in February and had to undergo surgery for a torn meniscus in his knee. But he's already made a full recovery and is back on the court. According to several reports, Bronny has already received several offers from different colleges or universities to play basketball after he graduates high school in 2023, with one of these universities being the University of Kentucky. Duke University is also rumored to be interested in signing the young point guard as well as UCLA. The 6'3" young point guard is currently listed as number 28 of 247 Sports list of top basketball recruits from the class of 2023, which is pretty impressive and would have been further up if not for the injury. On the other hand, you have to feel sorry for Bronny. I can't begin to imagine the amount of pressure he's had to live with at such a young age. Or even still, the kind of pressure he's had to live with all his life. A lot of people would say he's had it easy, and in a way, they're right, but he's also had it really tough too. Of course, there are the perks that come with being the first son of one of the greatest players, if not the greatest basketball player to play the game of basketball. And in the same way, it's that tag he'll have to live with for the rest of his life, the tag of being LeBron's son. He's talented and sure has a good future ahead of him, but the question is, will he ever be good enough? Actually, the question people want to ask is, will he ever be as good as his father? One of the great things about having a father like LeBron James is that he will get to learn firsthand from him, but the negative part is that he will always be compared to his father. And despite being 36, he's still building a championship team and going head-to-head with players significantly younger than he is. LeBron James got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers as the #1 pick back in 2003, and ever since then he's been playing at the top of the game, instantly making an impact on the Cleveland team and winning the Rookie of the Year award. LeBron James has made an NBA All-Star every season since his rookie year. In the course of his 18-year career, LeBron has won 4 NBA championships, including 4 MVP awards. He was the league scoring champion during the 2007-8 season, where he averaged 30 points per game. Defensively, LeBron has been just as effective as he is at the other end of the court, and has been named to the NBA's All-Defensive Team in 6 seasons. Even LeBron's haters can't deny his greatness or the fact that he's probably the most complete basketball player to ever play the game. And despite being 35 years of age, LeBron James remains the face of basketball around the world. When you think of everything LeBron has achieved and done, you can understand why there's a lot of pressure on Bronny to take up the mantle when LeBron finally retires. And to be honest, that's a little unfair because it's no easy mantle to pass on to a child. But the great thing about Bronny is that he's dealt with it well. Zaire once said this about Bronny: "He's a great young man. He doesn't let anyone faze him. You'd be surprised by all the stuff he has to go through. It's not fair, but he doesn't let it faze him." It's always assumed that children should grow up and follow in the footsteps of their parents, especially if the parents are successful. And being the child of a superstar like LeBron James, everyone assumes that Bronny would fill his father's big shoes, which is a tremendous amount of pressure for Bronny as he plays in front of packed houses every game and is always under the microscope of the media. Instead, Bronny has become accustomed to all the noise, cheers, media scrutiny, as well as playing in front of a massive crowd. He's a young kid who's constantly asked for his autograph and has ESPN televising his games. This might overwhelm most high schoolers, but for Bronny, it's just a normal routine of his daily life. Playing for Sierra Canyon, a private school in LA, and also being the son of the king, Bronny played in front of packed houses throughout his freshman year. So you can imagine the kind of pressure that comes with that because fans from around the country pack themselves to his high school to see him play. Bronny might not be as talented as his father was, nor is he the hungry man his father was who was desperate to make a mark and make himself a success in the NBA. But what he does have is poise and maturity way beyond his years. Whether that maturity comes with growing up with such a famous father or not, the truth is, he's handled it really well. In his freshman year, Bronny was on a team that's full of stars. For instance, Williams was the 7th ranked player in the county according to ESPN. BJ Boston was 6th, and Dwayne Wade's son, as well as Zaire, players ranked higher than him, are also on the same team. But people don't care much about those names. Everyone wants to see Bronny. He's the show. But despite everyone coming there to watch him or see him play, he understands that it's bigger than him. One thing that's made LeBron stand out is his mentality, and Bronny looks like he's got it. Apart from his composure or the fact that he can really handle pressure, his decision to go to Sierra Canyon and train with the best, and to fight for a place among the best players in the country, shows that Bronny is ready to earn his stripes and step out of his father's shadow. In the latest ranking, Bronny is now ranked 30 and 28 by some scouting reports, and 5th at his position in the country. Back in December, Bronny was ranked 19th in the country, but that doesn't mean he's been slipping rank-wise. The reason for the drop is most likely because of that knee injury he had back in February, which he looks to have completely shaken off. It's going to be a little difficult to evaluate him because of that injury, but nevertheless, we'll make a full analysis of his strengths and weaknesses. Before Bronny got injured, many scouts agreed with the fact that Bronny has a strong build, a good size and length. Bronny is also really athletic, something he's obviously taken from his father. But what's more impressive is how he's kept developing his athleticism over the years. What I like even more is his vision for the game and passing while he's playing as an off-guard combo. It just makes you think he's going to develop into a full-time point guard with time. Shooting is something that I don't agree he's necessarily terrific at. I think he prefers to pass the ball rather than shoot himself. LeBron has come out to talk about how he's impressed with how Bronny likes to feed his teammates rather than score in an era when everyone wants to score. But I think he was just shielding or protecting his son, which, hey, that's not a bad thing. Bronny does have good shot mechanics from the little we've seen and his pre-injury records, but I'd just like him to be more confident and take more shots or create more shots for himself. It could be that he's still a little rusty and that's why he's not taking those shots, but only time will tell. However, in his recent games, Bronny has shown signs of greatness. Another thing is, I think he lacks a little bit of aggressiveness and directness. Bronny needs to be more direct and aggressive when he's with the ball. For instance, if you watch the recent games, especially his teammates' game, you'd see them driving to the rim and trying to create chances or shooting opportunities for themselves. But I must admit that it can be unnecessary sometimes. I do believe Bronny sees himself as the guy who likes to make things happen for other people, choosing to pass rather than drive aimlessly into the rim. But passes can easily be blocked if the opposite team is attentive enough. So I'm just saying for him to go on to the next level, he will need to go out there and force shots. To be honest, I think he's capable of doing that with the kind of build and athleticism he has. And doing that is only going to benefit his team in the long run. It's also going to make him a better player, because if he makes a wrong move or step when driving at the opposition, he's going to learn how not to do that again or try something new that will beat his marker. Those mistakes will in turn help him grow. He has the build for it and a high IQ to go with it, so he will definitely learn from his mistakes and improve on them. Bronny is most likely going to grow into 6'6" or even 6'8", but he currently stands at 6'3". But let's imagine he stays at 6'3". Then he will end up playing as a natural point guard. He already plays like that anyway, trying to be a floor general or the playmaker for his team. As a point guard, the skills are there for him except the aggressiveness. I know we've mentioned aggressiveness quite a lot, but the NBA is a physical game, and I just think physicality definitely gives you a good advantage in the league. Maybe he's just trying to take it easy because of the injury. Defensively, Bronny is a pest, which is a great thing for his team and not exactly for opposition teams. It's also a great asset to have as a player, and I think it's something that will stand out, especially among new recruits. New recruits usually avoid defensive duties because they feel scoring is the most important or the best way to make their mark. Bronny has a good defensive mindset which could help him stop attacks and create his own attacks. We've seen his father do this multiple times by breaking an offense and then using his speed to lose his marker and either pass the ball or finish by himself. Bronny also clearly has a basketball IQ, and I think that's born out of watching the game a lot or the video games he's known for, or just genetics because his father has a great basketball IQ too. He knows how to pick a pass, make precise movements, control the game, and overall, he does what a good floor general does, which is getting all his teammates involved and not forcing plays. Bronny also has great verticals, something we've seen when he shows off his dunking, and they look very natural. What impresses me is that he can still make those jumps after his injury. Just take a look at this clip because this kid can dunk. Of course, he's not dunking over people yet, but he can take off and throw down with an open lane to the rim. He's done this a couple of times in warm-ups. Bronny can throw off the backcourt and dunk the ball. He can do a windmill or reverse dunk. He's just like his father, and if there's one thing that's clear, it's that athleticism isn't missing from his game. It also looks like his injury has healed nicely and he will only improve from here. From my perspective, especially from the way he plays right now, which could very much evolve or change or get better, I think his best position right now is playing as a point guard. His vision for the game, his will to win, ability to block a shot or make a steal, as well as his high IQ, combined with the athletic gift he's inherited, and let's not forget that he's still growing. With all that, I don't see how he wouldn't make it into the NBA. It's tough to say or judge that this is how a player of Bronny's age is ultimately going to end up, but the belief is that he will develop into a high-quality player. Given his lineage, there's strong reason to believe that he will blossom both physically and in terms of his game. While he's been handling the pressure really well for one, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the intense pressure that comes with becoming a professional NBA player when he gets drafted into a league his father has dominated for over 2 decades. He will get compared a lot more, and there will be more media attention on him like never before. It's going to be a whole new ballgame compared to anything he's faced in high school or will face in college. It's only about 2 years away, so how he deals with all those circumstances will have much to do with how good he becomes. Right now, he's a decent player still living in his father's shadow, and he will get to that point where he will have to go through a tough process of defining and becoming who he is as his own individual.